Incheon Airport suddenly becomes the center of the world's attention when one unexpected moment turns the atmosphere quiet, tense, and emotional. Amid the crowd of passengers and flashes of fan cameras, Jungkook, a member of BTS who is known to be calm and strong, can be seen running towards Taehyung, hugging him tightly and crying uncontrollably. The cry was so loud, so real, that it made one wonder, what had just happened? Why does a person who is known to keep emotions so carefully can collapse before the public? And more importantly, what finally made Taehyung decide to speak up after a long period of silence? That dramatic moment happened in mere seconds, but its impact resonated throughout the world. A short video recorded remotely by one of the fans shows the seconds when Jungkook approaches, hides his face, and leans back in Taehyung's arms. Taehyung's reaction seemed spontaneous. He hugged back tightly, rubbed Jungkook's back, and whispered something that no one could hear. Not only did Jungkook's expression reveal deep sadness, but Taehyung's eyes also seemed to be teary, as if he was harboring something far greater than could be openly explained. The footage went viral on social media within minutes, sparking a tsunami of speculation. From Twitter to the international online community, discussion of Jungkook's cry dominates the global trending topic. Some thought he had just received some sad news from his family. Some even think that the tremendous pressure of work has reached its breaking point. But most strikingly, theories emerged about the emotional connection between Jungkook and Taehyung, which has so far only been considered an ordinary friendship. The atmosphere at the airport changed drastically after that. Fans on site reported a heavy aura and unusual tension. An eyewitness even stated that Jungkook's expression before the incident seemed much more somber than usual. Shortly before that moment, he was seen receiving a call with a suddenly changed face. His hands trembled, and he looked agitated. "That's not the Jungkook we used to see," said a staffer at the site who asked to remain anonymous. Whatever happened at the time was clearly not a trivial incident. And it is precisely because of his so emotional and unpredictable nature that many speculate that it is not just about Jungkook. This is about the huge burden that they have been hiding about the human side of idols, which is often masked by the glamour of the entertainment world. For hours after the video went viral, there was not a single official statement from BTS or their agency. Taehyung and Jungkook also did not appear on social media. This silence only reinforces the suspicion that something big is happening. Hundreds of thousands of comments flooded their old posts with prayers, support, and concerns. The fans who used to be divided into various sub-fan bases are now united in one big question: what is really going on? And then, Taehyung spoke. In a brief interview conducted on the sidelines of a personal schedule, Taehyung finally gave a clarification that immediately spread widely. "What happened at the airport was a very personal moment," he said in a calm, almost quivering voice. "I just want Jungkook to know that I'm there for him, no matter what he feels." That brief statement raises more questions than it answers. However, one thing becomes clear: this is not media engineering, not a misunderstood funny moment. This is a real emotional outburst from a person who so far has rarely shown his fragile side in public. Korean pop culture analysts began to re-examine the entire chain of events. Many attribute this to the mental stress in South Korea's notoriously brutal entertainment industry. The burden of expectations, busy schedules, lack of privacy, and pressure from media publications can have serious psychological effects. Even for someone as powerful as Jungkook, a few days after the incident, new speculation arose. One of the sources in the industry revealed that Jungkook likely received unpleasant news regarding one of his family members, which Taehyung later confirmed in their private conversation. But for privacy reasons, an official statement will not be released. This leaves fans torn between understanding and demanding transparency. On the other hand, there is also a theory that the moment is not only about loss or personal pressure, but may be related to important decisions in Jungkook's career life. Some forums discuss the possibility of a hiatus, or even long-term plans that will affect the structure of BTS itself. But all this still remains in the realm of speculation. Whatever the truth, the moment has opened the eyes of many to the other side of the idols. That behind the majestic screen, they are still human beings who feel hurt, pressure, and fatigue. Taehyung's embrace wasn't just a gesture of pity. It was a symbol of the deep emotional connection between two people who have shared a stage, a struggle, and a life for more than a decade. Now, that moment has become part of BTS' unwritten history, a moment that reminds us that true strength is sometimes seen in tears, not in stubbornness, in sincerity, not in control. Taehyung points out that sometimes a silent presence and a tight hug are the only languages a person who is about to collapse needs. Jungkook, in his vulnerability, teaches that there is nothing wrong with crying. Even in the middle of the airport, even in front of the world, the moment, fans are still waiting for further explanations. But more importantly, they are united in hope that Jungkook, Taehyung, and the rest of BTS members always have the space to be human, not just stars. However, as the news spread and more videos, snippets, and theories appeared on various platforms, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, to the international online community, a fundamental question began to surface. Are we really witnessing a sincere and emotional moment between two best friends? Or is it just a dramatic illusion created from misleading camera angles, deliberately viral narratives, and public emotions easily led by sensation? Some are beginning to question the veracity of the video. They highlight how the recordings are only of short duration, blurred, and without clear audio. Do we really see Jungkook crying, or has his facial expression been misinterpreted? Does the hug carry a deep emotional meaning? Or is it just an ordinary gesture of friendship that happened to be caught on camera at an ambiguous moment? So, we also need to ask, how big is the role of the media in shaping our perception? Have clickbait titles, emotional narratives, and selective visual framing led us to conclusions that aren't necessarily true? Keep in mind, all the information spread so far, including the one we present in this article, comes from open sources that are not always officially verified. TikTok, with its algorithm that prioritizes emotions, Twitter, which is often a wild opinion space, YouTube with speculative reaction content, and articles from media that do not necessarily prioritize accuracy. Where does the truth stand amid this information noise? Is it possible that this dramatic moment was actually a fabrication? A strategy to create a narrative that invites empathy, strengthens fan loyalty, and prolongs public attention to BTS, which is now facing a transition period as some of its members are serving in the military. It is not unlikely that this incident at the airport was used, knowingly or unknowingly, as a tool to spark a global conversation. Doesn't the entertainment industry often rely on moments like these to maintain relevance and existence? And if so, how ethical is that? But on the other hand, we should also not turn a blind eye to the fact that artists like Jungkook and Taehyung are mere mortals who may actually be experiencing emotional distress. Are we too skeptical to accuse them of acting just because we didn't see the crying with our own eyes? Do our doubts reflect a lack of empathy in a cynical world? These questions are important, not only for understanding these incidents clearly, but also for measuring how we, as consumers of information, respond to the news we consume on a daily basis. Are we critical enough to examine the source of information? Are we willing to wait for official confirmation before spreading the emotional word? Or do we prefer to believe dramatic narratives because they feel more entertaining? Perhaps it is time for all of us to reflect on our position in this chain of information dissemination. When the video of Jungkook crying went viral, how many of us immediately believed it and spread it? How many have thought to ask, is this really so? Or is there a missing context? In a fast-paced digital world, Where visuals can be manipulated and narratives can be fabricated, skepticism is no longer an option, it's a necessity. Moments like these are powerful reminders of how much power the media has in shaping perceptions. A 10-second video can spark millions of emotions, thousands of articles, and hundreds of theories. But how often do we ask, is this real? Or is it just a social and digital construct that we come into play with? We invite you, the reader, to really reflect and ask yourself, do you believe that Jungkook really cried in Taehyung's arms? Or do you feel like this is an ordinary event exaggerated by the camera's point of view and the collective emotions of fans? Do you believe that the current public reaction reflects a fact, or rather a collective fantasy shaped by social media algorithms? And if this is indeed just a misunderstanding, why is it so easy for us to believe? Does the world today believe in viral visuals more than official clarifications? In conclusion, it is important to emphasize that we do not claim the absolute truth of these events. The information we collect comes from various open sources, which of course has validation limitations. Therefore, we encourage you not to take every piece of information for granted. Think critically, verify every claim, and realize that behind every piece of news that touches the heart, more complex interests may lie. Thanks for reading to the end. Now we return to you. Is what you see and read really reality? Or just the version that is most easily trusted by heart and algorithms?